What's going on? This is Coach Tyler with St. Pete Pole Vault. Welcome back to the video series. Today we will cover the input and output of energy of a bent pole. Alright, so this is a rule that we do not want to bend. So every pole has a side that will naturally bend out the easiest, which can be found by resting the top of the pole elevated on a flat surface like a hurdle. The side of the pole that is facing down is the side that is intended to bend outward. This side will be facing down in the carrying position and facing the pit in the plant position. The vaulter must always check that they are gripping the correct side of the pole before every jump. The position of the label on the pole may vary by brand. Some of them have their label facing out, some are facing in. The stiffness or pole flex is very important. The weight number indicates the maximum weight a vaulter should be to lessen the chance of the pole breaking. Lighter poles are easier to bend and recoil slower, while heavier poles require more effort to bend and they'll recoil faster. The number indicates the stiffness of the pole if the vaulter were to grip at the top. Stiffness increases as the grip is lowered on each pole. Some high school competitions will weigh the vaulter with their pole to ensure the pole is big enough and lessen the chance of it breaking. A pole's weight number is inversely related to its flex number. Therefore, a higher weight number and a lower flex number means the pole is stiffer. Poles come in many different brands, which have slight variations in their weight and flex number. We do want to progress up poles, increase our grip, and move to heavier poles, so where do we start? A vaulter may start on a pole with a weight number that's less than their body weight, with the understanding that it is only used for developing technique and probably won't be used for competition. The vaulter should try to jump on a pole with a weight number that corresponds to their body weight as soon as they can. When moving to bigger poles, the vaulter should make the smallest incremental increase as possible. For example, a pole that is 6 inches longer or 5 pounds heavier. Many schools only have a small selection of poles. If a vaulter cannot successfully move to the next biggest pole that their program has on hand, renting an appropriately sized pole is a good option. Given perfect technique, the limiting factor for grip height is the vaulter's speed. The limiting factor for pole stiffness is the vaulter's strength and technique. We're going to measure our grip in steps again, similarly to how we learned with the straight pole. Grip width may be wider when learning how to bend a pole about shoulder width, or about 18 inches. Steps are measured the same way as running with a straight pole, except the vaulter will be jumping farther away from the box due to a higher grip. Beginners may choose to start to bend a pole at a 5 left step approach. However, any step from 1 to 10 may be used depending on the vaulter's ability and preference. I like to have my vaulters feel the bend of the pole so they have good internal awareness of all the muscle groups that are being used in the takeoff. Practice by standing in plant position and pushing the pole into the box. Feel the muscles in the hips, legs, and ankles push off the ground with maximal force. Feel the muscles in the back and core stiffen to force the chest forward. Feel the muscles in the shoulders and arms push the pole up with speed and power. Here I am feeling the bend, so I'm putting myself into plant position and just holding it. Practice the movements of the takeoff in the box. Plug the energy leaks from the ground up. Extend the jump leg, tighten the core, drive the chest forward, and press the arms up to the sky. And we're back to a familiar drill, which is the power plant we've done many times with the straight pole. Now we just got to bend the pole. The straight pole power plant technique should be practiced many times before bending the pole. The goal of this drill is to generate as much energy on the runway as possible and transfer it into the pole to move the system forward into the pit while gripping as high as possible. Drive the chest over the hips and push the pole up while keeping the trail leg back throughout the entire vault. Whenever the vaulter progresses to a new pole, a new grip, or a new number of approach steps, a power plant drill will be performed first. This will ensure that the vaulter is stepping on their takeoff mark and landing deep enough in the pit before performing the other phases of the vault, such as the swing and the turn. Again, this is similar to the straight pull power plant, it's just a bigger scale with more speed, more power. Push the pole up and forward and squeeze the trail leg behind the pole to keep the chest over the hips for as long as possible. When it comes time to my swing, I need to swing fast. For right-handed vaulters, the pole will bend toward the pit upon takeoff and then naturally roll off to the left side. Swinging on a bent pole is similar to the swing on a straight pole, except there is more power and the bottom arm remains more extended. The swing is initiated from the hips, not the shoulders. The legs will swing down, forward, and up over the shoulders. The arms apply pressure forward and down to the left side so the legs can swing back to the negative side of the pole. After my swing, I need to immediately phase to the turn and invert. As the pole begins to recoil or pop, the turn and invert must begin. The hips and the torso should be tight to the pole to keep the body's center of mass in a vertical line. The vaulter will rotate 180 degrees counterclockwise, so they go over the bar with the belly facing down. The line of sight will follow the top hand, ending with looking down the pole. The final phase in the vault is the push off and the pike. We need to stay upside down as long as possible. Just because you let go of the pole doesn't mean you don't still have vertical energy. The pole should be pushed in a vertical motion as if to press an object above the head. Pike the hips to maximize hip height at the apex of the jump. The very last step is to throw the arms back to avoid knocking the bar down with your arms. If the pole or the body touches the crossbar, but it remains up on the standards, it still counts as a clear. Beginners will jump heights that are below their hand grip, therefore it is crucial to throw the pole back so the pole doesn't knock the bar down. Here's a quick breakdown of my full vault. So again, I'm swinging my feet back to the negative side of the pole. My turn and invert, I'm keeping myself tight. However, you'll notice my body drifting off to the side instead of completely vertical. That's because the pole isn't as tight to my body as I could make it. And the very top end is the push off and pike. I'm bending at my hips for a pike and I'm pushing the pole off.